Welcome to May's Energy Update, where we look at the numerology, the sacred geometry, cosmic alignments, and astrological alignments for the month of May, and having a look at all of those aspects of the container of May. It gives us a nice template to work for in May so that we can see what is coming up for us and how we can work through some of the challenging frequencies or aspects, and at least having those tools so that we can resource during the month to help us stay aligned within our soul evolutionary pathway. So before we step into looking at what May brings, always important for us to come into this 0 point field. So as always, the invitation is to 0 point field your awareness into this void point, into this point of neutrality. And from this 0 point field, we open up our awareness into the infinite possibilities and infinite potential. And inviting from that place, from within the 0 point field, that all information received, if it is in the highest resonance for us and is working within alignment, that it comes in and infuses within our frequency, and if not, that it moves through. So whatever is not in alignment, not in the highest resonance for you, you set the intention to leave that behind. And that's always important whenever we step into any type of work, is that we 0 point field our point of awareness so that we can be in the highest resonance for our alignment. Okay, so let's start looking at May. I'm quite excited about May. May is bringing a lot of transformation, but in a different way to April. April was tough, yeah. Like if April was like smooth sailing for you, like I want the recipe. I want to know what you did. So May is bringing transformation, but in a different way. There's a lot that is happening within May that we can really tap into, and we can really expand for ourselves to facilitate that transformation so that we can always bring balance and harmony. And some of the overarching themes, there's actually quite a lot of themes for May, but I'm just going to pinpoint on a few themes. For us is this balancing, this harmony, healing. May brings a lot of healing. So this is when we look at all of the aspects. So as I combine everything, the cosmic, astrological, the sacred geometry, and the numerology, when I look at all of those, look at that whole template, these are the overarching themes: balance, harmony, healing, manifestation, abundance, transformation, communication, connection, connecting into our bodies, connecting into earth, teaching, freedom, and the oneness through interconnectedness. So these are big themes, huge themes, and each one we could really just expand into. So I'm going to leave that there for you to keep going back into, holding that in your point of awareness. And as I'll talk through the little aspects which we are going to focus on for May, you'll see how they keep drawing back to those overarching themes for the month. So the first thing I wanted to say is looking at the aspect of freedom and transformation. When we looked at April, particularly with the eclipses and the Aries energy, everything like Mercury, Mars, Aries, fire, transforming, which was quite tough for us to experience that. Lots of solar flares. And if we look particularly at the 8th of April, what the 8th of April signified for us, it was this huge conjuncture point, this hugely prophesized day, where we were able to experience the rebirthing of a new template, facilitating the mother principle's return, facilitating this deep healing between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And as we start to go forward in the months now, we are seeing how that energy and those frequencies are starting to be birthed and to be embodied within the collective template. And I really feel that May is bringing that, is really assisting us with that. And I'm hugely excited about May because of that. So when we go into all of it, I'll come back to this reference point. So if April was also this really fiery energy, you know, for us to go through the transformation, whereas May brings more of a grounded, more of embodied, more of a sense of being really connected. So that's really something for you to kind of keep coming back to for yourself. How can I be more embodied right now? How can I come into this place of being connected with my body, connected in my space, connected to the earth, so that I can facilitate deeper healing, deeper transformation, learning, manifest, abundance. You know, abundance is a huge one for us this month. Because if we look at 8 of April, and all of the energies around April, it was all about the collapsing of the old patriarchal system. And what we would have experienced in that collapse was all that root chakra, that fear, the scarcity, the poverty, the slavery, the being in bondage, the control. So May brings us this energy of freedom. So as we continue to pull and weave through the teachings and the wisdom and the healing from April, we can really start to anchor it into ourselves so we can step into this platform of freedom and expansion and weave in the abundance as we start to focus in on what we want to manifest. So holding all of that, let's start dipping into the little pieces, like the pieces I really want to focus on so that we can anchor that in for May for us. So looking at, I'm going to start with astrology first this time. So looking at the astrology, let's look at the new moon. So new moon energy, we've got new moon coming up just in a couple of days' time. And the new moon is on the 8th of May. So we've got new moon in Taurus. And the themes for the new moon is, the affirmation for the new moon is, I'm grateful for all the gifts I have received in this life. And to receive is being grateful for life itself. So this new moon energy that we have is about us learning and really opening up our field and exploring what needs to be released as we can really step into this place of knowing that we are worthy of deserving. We are worthy of receiving. So it's knowing our worth, knowing that we are enough, knowing that we deserve a life of abundance, a life of freedom, a life of expansion, a life of joy. So really stepping into that and also recognizing the gifts that we have. You know, we often look, particularly if, you know, we're experiencing a lot of distortion. There's a lot of disharmony within the emotions, the mental body. It can be very easy to focus on what's not working, and we often miss out the beauty and the gifts. So we've got a couple of alignments which are really facilitating us opening up into this new moon energy, where we can really plant these seeds of recognizing what we do have, what is working, and recognizing that, oh my God, like, wow, my life has the potential to be so expansive, and I can align myself with the worthiness and the knowing that that is true for me. So if we look at what's coming up into alignment for this, Firstly, we've got the 5-5 portal. 5-5 portal is coming up in just a couple of days. And the 5-5 portal, again, huge gateway for us. So we've got 5-5 portal, and that energy is going to go all the way up until the 23rd of May. So powerful portal energy for us to really clear out all the beliefs we have, everything that is still locked for us, that is holding us out of alignment with manifesting the abundance, the beauty. I almost want to say glory, but again, maybe interpret what glory means for you, that we deserve in our life, this joyful, expansive energy. So what we have that is bringing this forward for us is we have Taurus. We have this alignment point of Taurus, Pluto, and Venus. Okay, so let's just look very quickly at that. So we are in Taurus now. Taurus is earth. So it takes us out of the fiery element and it takes us into earth and this connection with our body. So it really grounds us in. It takes everything we've been working on the last couple of months and it really grounds us into this connection with the body. Taurus is all about throat chakra, communication. So everything that we've been learning up until this point, everything we experienced in April with Mercury being in retrograde around communication, this is a beautiful healing time for us when we really come into this knowing what we're worth, what we deserve, keeping those boundaries firmly in place that we worked on in April. We can really solidify that, bring deep healing and expansiveness with the Taurian energy as we step and hold that, really anchor into this deep connection of yourself. Taurus is the bull, right? So the bull, you can see, is really solid, grounded, really knows its place. But it's important to keep this energy in balance because the bull can also go out of balance and it can just charge, can just be impulsive. And when it does that, it can bring quite a lot of chaos, it can bring a lot of chaos into the whole body-mind experience and within our field. So bull in a china shop, right? That's a lot of chaos. So we do have to bring our awareness about, again, that theme of balance and harmony. Can we still keep our energies, what we're experiencing, what we're releasing, as we release and integrate this shadow aspect of us, can we still bring that into the balance and harmony so we can really have this connection with ourselves? So this month, the key is to really come into this experience of the body, and that's going to open up this capacity to heal and release on a deeper level so that we can experience, we can really manifest and bring more abundance in. Then we've got Venus. So Venus moves into Taurus, much better placement for her than Aries. Aries, fire. Venus, the goddess of love, and Aries isn't a fantastic match, but Taurus, she rules Taurus. Taurus is her home. She loves Taurus. She really just flourishes and is expansive in Florus. Florus, what is that? Taurus, Venus and Taurus, Florus. So here we've got Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, the goddess who brings beauty and connection into our home, into our body. She brings sensuality. She brings, there's a lot of abundance and money with Venus. So we've got these two, this pairing, this manifesting of abundance and money pairing. So this is a beautiful time for us to really look at that piece around what are we still holding on to? Where do we still feel restricted? Where are our limiting beliefs? Where are we still feeling stuck, tied down, like we can't move forward? Because Taurus, the bull definitely, when it decides to move, it moves. Like there's no stopping the bull, right? So we can really break free. We can use that aspect of the Taurus energy to really facilitate this breaking free of those limitations, those restrictions, the suppression. and particularly the scarcity and poverty and enslavement that we were working on in the previous months. Venus also is preparing to do her underworld journey. So we've got this beautiful time with Venus in Taurus, where she really brings our awareness into what are the last pieces that we need. So if we were pruning, what are those pieces that need to be pruned so that we can go into the winter months and come out of the winter months into that expansive, abundant energy. And then we've got Pluto. So Pluto went into retrograde on the 2nd of May. Pluto is the planet or the lord of the underworld. So Pluto is all about, the dark night of the soul. It's all about seeing our shadow. It is, the bringer of change and transformation. And we've got Pluto that has just transitioned into this underworld journey, into this retrograde phase of deep reflection. Pluto is doing its journey of going within. So we have these alignment points of these three, Taurus, Venus, and Pluto. And if we can really open up our field to bring in the wisdom and the teachings that these three bring for us in their pairing here, we can really facilitate this understanding of, from this aspect within me, as I come into this place deep within me, to really understand what are these last pieces of the pruning, what are these last pieces that I am still holding on to or are still being pushed onto me, what I'm still experiencing within my field, that I can let go of, that I can really transform. So Venus takes some of the heaviness out of the Pluto because she brings such love and such light. She holds this beautiful weaving of light on us when we go into this shadow aspect. And she really, encourages us to stay anchored in our heart and stay anchored in the body, because that is the most important part for us, so that we can really release these last pieces. So new moon is a beautiful time for us to really look at this piece about what is ready to let go. What have we seen? What are we carrying forward? And what can we release from this place of deserving? And we've got the 5-5 portal, which is all about 5, is all about freedom. It's all about the teaching, what we have learned, from the teacher within us, from the lessons that we have experienced, what we are learning, so that we can deeply transform this to open up into this abundance piece. So that is beautiful. May carries a huge theme around abundance and about money and manifestation. So know your worth, learn to express. Taurus is, we express that we are worthy of it. Clear up your communication lines and really anchor into this beautiful energy that is available for us for the new moon to clear those last pieces. So full moon, we have full moon on the 23rd of May and full moon in Sagittarius, 23rd of May. So beautiful energies for the full moon. And here we've got the affirmation is, I am an instrument. I am the instrument the universe channels its wisdom through. My soul sings the stories into existence. Beautiful. So this is us really opening up into this place of receiving the wisdoms that are coming forward from all the teachings, so that we can be that divine expression of that. So some of the things that we can bring our awareness to and that we can work with leading up to the full moon is we still have, so if you remember the 20th of April, we had this huge Jupiter-Uranus conjunction point. Jupiter and Uranus was massively transformative. Uranus is the lord of chaos. It changes gear. It literally turns us overnight in a different direction. And Jupiter is the planet of luck and expansion and abundance. So we've got Jupiter really playing through the whole of May for us. So we've still got that, energy weaving through from April into May. But what we've also got is, as we come into this full moon energy, we've got Jupiter and Neptune. So Neptune, you'll remember from February, is the water element. And Neptune takes us very much right into the water element of us, our emotional body, where we can release those deeper emotions, which are still keeping us in restriction and distortion. But once we work with that, once we bring balance to that and we allow that to be released from our field, Neptune opens us up into this place of visioning, of dreaming. It has a very kind of mystical kind of energy. So when we come into this deep place within us, so we've done that work already, we're journeying into this inner journey with Pluto and Venus, Taurus. Now we are really centered into this deep centered dream place that Neptune brings. And Neptune allows us to dream our dream. So lots of meditation, lots of being grounded, lots of journaling in this alignment point so that we can really come into this place of stillness. Neptune asks us to be still so that we can remove the distractions and be in that dreamy state or connect to that dreamy state so that we can vision, we can hold it really clearly. So when the water is so still, you can see that reflection, right? And that's what what Neptune is bringing in this conjunction with Jupiter. So here, after we've had this new moon about really planting those seeds of manifesting and abundance, we then open up into this energy of anchoring that dream in with Neptune and Jupiter, the planet of abundance, the planet of luck, the planet of manifestation. Beautiful. Amazing. Let's do it, right? Let's really call that in. But it requires stillness for us. We really need to, coming to the new moon, really focus on bringing a lot of stillness into our field. And that pairs up with Sagittarius. The new moon is in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is really about focusing your attention on where you want to go. Where is it? What is it that you want to do? Are you living this life that you want? This dream that you have, is it in alignment? Like, where are you pointing your arrow? Are you pointing it into the dream or are you pointing it somewhere else? And Sagittarius really is not afraid to ask us to change, to get us to think about where we want to be. Sagittarius can be a bit restless. It's like, right, go to, if you want to travel, go travel. If you want to study, go and study. If you want to do this, go and do this. It's this really almost dynamic energy about really shifting us into the place that we need to be. So think about these three, with the new moon, and about this being the instrument the universe channels its wisdom through. So Sagittarius, when we can call forward the wisdom, Sagittarius really helps us open up into being this instrument that receives the wisdom, the guidance, and can be this channel that we came here to be. We came here with a template, with a purpose, and Sagittarius can help align us to being really embodied with that, and we can move ourselves into that direction. So beautiful energy for us for the new moon, full moon. Beautiful energy for us to really keep that alignment and keep focused on what the full moon is requiring for us to be and to bring forward. So again, full moon is about releasing. New moon is about planting those seeds, and then we do all that work until the full moon. And here we're really clear now on what we want. Our arrow is pointed to the bull's eye, right? In the bull's eye. And now we know exactly what we want. What do you need to do to clear that? And cosmically, we've had some pretty intense flares. I feel we'll probably get another few around the 5-5 portal. New moon, we're definitely going to get, and coming up into this expansiveness so that we can really clear out what's holding us back from this dream and this alignment point. There's definitely going to be the solar flares, which are going to facilitate the clearing of that density for us. Again, you choose how you want to work with the solar flare. You can, again, go into, the solar flare, or you can see it just as we see everything else, as it's facilitating the healing. This month is all about healing. It's all about bringing balance and harmony. So if you invite that into your space and all these alignments that I've just spoken about, we invite all of them into our space and really connect with them into this. I'm inviting you in to bring this healing, to facilitate this transformation, to facilitate balancing and harmonizing of my field so that I can be in this alignment point for my soul evolutionary expansion. Beautiful. Okay, so there's always the invitation to do that. Okay, so that's the astrological alignments. So looking at what that is bringing. And then let's look at the sacred numerology. And I was quite excited about this because I've actually been working quite a lot with the sacred geometry that the 5 carries, that the 5th month carries. And when we look at the sacred geometry, we're looking at the pentagram. And it is also the 5-pointed star. So I just channeled a drawing with sacred geometry and light language. So we're looking at the 5-pointed star. And there is a lot to cover. And for purposes of keeping this video short and not like 3 hours long, the most important element to hold when we look at the sacred geometry of the pentagram, of the 5-pointed star, is that it is the gateway into this understanding that the entire cosmos is made up of the principle that everything is interconnected. So the whole concept of oneness, it really opens us up into the teachings. It helps us really anchor ourselves into the concept of the oneness so that we can embody that and we can work in this oneness within our field, and particularly with our Earth Mother, because there's a lot of healing that's required there. So when we look at the pentagram and we look at what it brings for us in terms of teaching, the pentagram is known as the key of creation. So the pentagram and the hexagram, which is the 6, which we'll work on next month, is known as the key of creation. And when we look a little bit deeper into that, we see, when we look at the interconnectedness of everything, we see this link between the microcosm and the macrocosm, and how the microcosm and the macrocosm are all interconnected into this oneness. And what guides us into that is the sacred geometry of the pentagram, which carries the ratio, the golden ratio, and which carries the whole sequencing, this asymmetrical sequencing of the fractal geometry. So when we look at the Fibonacci sequence, that is all this interconnection between the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence. And, you know, I always have this in my workspace. And here we can see the fractal geometry that we can see all through nature. It is, again, when we look at the microcosm, so from a microcosmic perspective, the pentagram and fractal geometry, okay, the ratio of the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence, we can take it all the way into our cells from a microcosmic perspective. So we can see some of the DNA strands have the pentagram shape. We can go all the way outwards, extending outwards into nature. Our body is made up of the 5 elements. Nature is made up of the 5 elements. We have this shape extending outwards into the cosmos. So the the fractal geometry, that fractal geometry sequencing, this asymmetrical sequencing, goes all the way from our internal, from our cellular structure, all the way into the cosmos. And we can see that the galaxies are even made up of this golden ratio. And that really just, even in meditation, even in reflection, when you start to connect to this geometric pattern that the golden ratio brings through for us, which is sequenced in the Fibonacci sequence, when we start to really meditate on that, it really takes us into this hugely expansive field of consciousness and starts to tap in. And this is why it's called the keys of creation. It starts to tap you into the keys of creation from that macroscopic perspective. And then from that macroscopic perspective, we can then do that inward journey as we come down inwards into the microcosmic perspective of us. And we can find these gateways of interconnection where we can find this oneness within each gateway as we extend outwards and outwards and outwards and outwards. So, you know, there's smaller elements in between that we can connect to. You know, Venus, I always talk about Venus. I'm always teaching about Venus. You know, Venus has her 5-starred journey around the sun. You know, the 5-petaled flower journey around the sun. You know, that again is that interconnectedness. When we look at, let me just make sure that I'm saying it right. We look at the rings of Saturn. Again, we can see that it has the same sequencing of the golden ratio. The hydrogen bonds in water can have the pentagram shape. So this pentagram shape, really, when we work with it, and again, take on board what you want to take on board, when we can work with the pentagram shape or the 5-pointed star, we can see that it exists, the sacred geometry in that, the golden ratio within that exists. It is the building block of creation. And just that statement alone is huge, because if we want to really understand our purpose, why we're here, what the cosmos is made up of, this is the key that starts to unlock this. A beautiful, so what I've chosen to do with the pentagram and the 5-pointed star, I have images that I've drawn and I keep them there on my altar and I'm meditating on them. So the 5-pointed star, you know, this could be us with our arms stretched out and our feet stretched out. And even just standing in that position really connects us into the consciousness and into the wisdom and the mystery and the teachings, brings all those codes forward of what the pentagram and the five-pointed star is teaching us about creation, and really starts to unlock the DNA strands within us so that we can be more expansive and we can clear the density within the DNA strands, so we can start to open up into the 12 strands of DNA. So I have the image that I meditate on. I draw the five-pointed star. And what the five-pointed star does, when we do the five-pointed star, and particularly when you do a spiral in, this is your gateway for manifestation. So draw a five-pointed star, set your intention, what you want to manifest, and put that into the five-pointed star. So when we look at the sacred geometry, we have this powerful portal of manifesting, of creation and healing. The five-pointed star, the pentagram, carries all the wisdom and the teaching of manifesting, abundance, healing. Okay, so just visualizing that image, visualizing the pentagram brings that healing forward for you, really anchors at you. So looking at the energy that we have for May really opens up this connection point into what are we working on with the new moon, the full moon, all these alignment points that we have. How can we heal, harmonize, and deepen our awareness and this connection to our multidimensionality, all the way above, all the way below, into this real oneness with Gaia and every particle of life, to bring this healing. Okay, so that is, you know, one of the key focus points that we can work with when we work with the sacred geometry of the pentagram. If you want to focus on protection, then your five-pointed star, you put a circle around it. The circle will then ward off any negative energy and really fortify your field of protection. So what I've been doing on a daily basis is I've been visualizing the five-pointed star, the portal of manifesting, healing, abundance, and then putting a circle of protection around and holding that intention into the field. Okay. So that is a beautiful one to do. The five-pointed star also opens up our connection and awareness with the five elements. Right, so we are made up of the five elements. Our root chakra is earth. Our sacral chakra is water. Our solar plexus is fire. Heart is air. And throat, which is what we're really working on at the moment with Taurus energy, is ether. It's our spirit. Okay, and that is our, in a microcosmic perspective, that is our oneness. We can use it as this integration point. So we can use our five elements to really connect in, and that can be our portal into connecting into the cosmos or connecting into Gaia, whichever way you want to do your connection. So it really brings this aspect of oneness. It really taps us into this aspect of oneness if we choose to work with it. Also, when we look at the ancient cultures, like the Pythagoreans, and ancient cultures that we have, they venerated this symbology, the image, the pentagram, the five-pointed star. The secrets of it were hugely guarded. In fact, we still haven't been able to untap the full learnings and mysteries around it because they have been so guarded and secreted. So it is a hugely venerated symbol. There is a lot to learn, and I'm definitely going to go down that pathway of learning. But we do see the image of these, actually, I did draw one out. I don't know why I didn't have it with me. So we do see the 5-pointed star. You look in nature, look at all the flowers in nature, look at the seeds of some of the fruit. It's everywhere, it's everywhere. It's a huge gateway for us. So you are always invited to do some deep journey work to explore that, because, yeah, powerful, powerful connection point this is. And the one thing I do want to say is, we always have the distorted, right? Because we live in a distorted matrix. The inverted star has its negative aspects. It has its distortion. It's being used to create distortion, to create negativity, satanic rituals, the whole thing. I'm even careful about saying the word satanic. I've got things around that. But anyway, I'm not going into it in this talk. So in our field, we will have coding around this, okay, within our DNA, within our lineage, and within our field, because of the interconnectedness of everything. There is only a oneness. You will have some coding around the inversion of this. Make sure you clear that before you work with your 5-pointed star to bring in the healing, the balancing, the oneness, and the teachings, right, that you are wanting to access. So work with that. Okay, it's important to clear all the negativity, all the negative coding around the inverted 5-pointed star. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say on that. You can go down that loophole if you want to go down that loophole. But the pentagram really, so one of the things I did want to say is the pentagram activates our DNA, which is really important. This is what we're working on to bring forward our gifts. The pentagram also helps strengthen and stabilize the structures which need stabilizing. So whatever is needs stabilizing or doesn't have order, the 5-pointed star, the pentagram, and the, they talk about divine proportion, the sacredness of this golden ratio really helps to bring order and balance and stabilizing to our field when we work with it. It helps us activate the inner healer within us and the alchemist. Okay. So we can really step into a place of deeply healing. You can go all the way into your DNA. You can go all the way into your cells. You can go all the way into the elements of your body, the entire body, and bring healing through the gateway of the sacred geometry of the 5. Okay. And then you can expand that outwards. It's the alchemist because healing requires the density and the distortion to be alchemized into light. So beautiful alchemy tool, the pentagram or the 5-pointed star. Okay. And again, because of the golden ratio, the divine, this asymmetry that brings this divine proportion, it really connects us into the divinity. So there will be an alignment point for your purpose. So those who are really seeking soul purpose and how to fulfill that, this is the one that you are going to use to help you do that. Okay. So lots to take on, lots to work on. But let's quickly step into the 5 and what 5 is bringing for us, particularly if we think about Pluto. Pluto is the planet of transformation. And I think Pluto works and pairs beautifully with the 5 energy, because the 5 energy can be a little bit, obviously, edgy, right? So it really cuts through. It really illuminates what needs to be cleared. When we are looking at the astrological alignments and we're looking at the sacred geometry, and now we step into the numerology, but now we are quite clear about, hang on a second, I know exactly what I want to clear. And the number 5 is quite edgy. So it's definitely going to bring a lot of clarity into what needs to be released. 5 is a teacher. It is all about freedom. Pluto is the Lord of transformation. It breaks down it is in place to break down the patriarchal system, right? It's going to liberate us. It's going to bring us into this field of freedom, liberation, expansiveness. Okay, and 5 is all about freedom, this expression of freedom, this experience of freedom. But it is the teacher. So it is going to bring the teachings that we require around how we can navigate, how we can really step into clearing these restrictions so that we can experience this freedom, this liberation. This is huge at the moment because we can see the suffering in the collective field around this. And I don't want to go too much into that, but really just focusing on the 5 as a teacher. You know, teachers are going to keep bringing the lessons. Sometimes they're going to irritate us. They're going to prod and poke, you know, because they're going to challenge us. So 5 can bring a lot of challenges. So this is why I said May is going to bring a lot of transformation and healing for us, but in a different way. It's not going to be fiery like April was. It's going to bring a lot of experiences for us to really learn, because we have a lot of teacher energy around us in May with the 5, with the 5-5 portal, with the whole sacred geometry of the 5 that May is carrying. And Jupiter also, you know, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, like it's also known as the guru planet, the master teacher, really, you know, holding that light for us to see what we need to see. And we've got a lot of Jupiter in May. So if you know, choose to work with the numerology for this month, really step into this opening and inviting this teaching perspective, knowing that there's going to be times where it's going to feel very comfortable, and times like maybe that bottom part of the 5, you know, which is nice and flowful, but the first part of the 5, you know, this edgy part, you know, you are going to experience some of the teachings in a little bit of discomfort. It's going to challenge you. It's going to push you out of your comfort zone. Sagittarius is also going to push you out of your comfort zone at the end, you know. So if you can just step into that with as much openness as possible, knowing that what this whole month is doing is, as the patriarchy is collapsing, we are standing on this platform of really anchoring in what we want, what we desire. And the 5 is going to, with Venus and Taurus, you know, as we come into this connection with ourselves, are really going to help us connect deeply with our desires. You know, manifesting is about desires and wants. But we've got to clear the erroneous beliefs and the narratives that we carry, the stories that we carry, that we don't deserve this. And that puts us into this beautiful energy of freedom and liberation. When we can clear all that's around that, we can really step into this place of experiencing freedom. Okay. So for me, 5 is a beautiful inquiry. You know, there's always an invitation to go into inquiry. And because as the teacher who is working on bringing healing and bringing freedom, I would really be inquiring around, you know, what has been suppressed, what is being suppressed? What resentment am I holding? What frustrations am I holding? What's in density about these needs which have been unmet? What is still unexpressed? And how can I meet these unexpressed needs? How can I open up and express what's been unexpressed? And looking at these unmanifested desires, right? So really working with the 5, particularly as we step into maybe the full moon energy with Neptune, about really calling forward these desires and what has been unmanifested. And the 5 is a beautiful number to work with Pluto to really break those chains so that we can open up into understanding this. So those would be the inquiry points of what desires are unmanifested, what's unexpressed, what have you not expressed yet, what still needs to be released from your field, and what is being repressed, and the frustrations, the resentment, what's being held within that needs to be released so that we can really step into this expansion point. Okay. 5 also, like 4 was about boundaries. 5 requires boundaries, so that we can come into this real place of understanding who we are. So 5 definitely brings or helps fortify the element of boundaries. Okay, so I will close the space down. I think there's a lot of information there. Again, the invitation is always to take on what is going to help bring alignment and expansion to your field. Not everything is going to do that, but there is a lot to be curious about. There's a lot to maybe explore through this month in terms of the astrology, some of the sacred geometry, just even drawing the hexagon shape. We've got the hexagon shape, just drawing that and holding the images of the hexagon shape in your awareness point, and the 5-pointed star, and seeing where, so I just wanted to see if I had another clearer picture of the hexagon, but I don't have one in front of me. And seeing where that is going to facilitate deeper awareness, deeper healing for you. So it's going to be a beautiful month. There's going to be a lot of learning. And I don't know, I just feel super excited about it because it's going to be learning in a different way for us. Because I think it really opens us up into some deep mystery, because we really need to connect into ourselves, looking at the Taurus, the Venus energy, Pluto retrograde, and the sacred geometry of the oneness, interconnectedness of the microcosm, macrocosm. It really brings us into this deep understanding of who we are and what needs to be healed. So wishing you a beautiful, expansive, flowful healing journey this month.